Thank you. I welcome the response of the First Minister in First Minister's questions to the Leader of Plaid Cymru about the issue of access to free abortions for women from Northern Ireland in Wales. I wanted to applaud the efforts of Labour backbencher Stella Creasy, whose campaigning and actions resulted in the Westminster Government making this decision for England. And I call for a detailed statement from the Welsh Government, from the Health and Social Services Cabinet Secretary, about how this will be implemented in Wales. I understand that last year 724 women from Northern Ireland accessed abortions in England and Wales. So could we have a statement to clarify the Welsh numbers, the funding? I note the funding from Westminster will be from the Equality of the UK Government's Equality Office. And obviously, what about the issue of travel and expense costs? Because the Supreme Court case earlier this year was brought by a pregnant 15-year-old and her mother who travelled from Northern Ireland to Manchester, and the cost was £900. And this sort of payment adds to the stress and the stigma attached to such a distressing occasion.
Well, I'm glad Julie Morgan, a member for Cardiff North, has also chosen to raise this again this afternoon, obviously following a question to the First Minister. And I want to again repeat what the First Minister said, that we strongly support women's right to choose to have an abortion. We're looking into the provision of abortion in Wales to women from Northern Ireland. We believe that a woman from Northern Ireland in Wales should be able to access an abortion for free on the same basis as women in Wales, and we're exploring how that can be achieved. And of course that does include, as the First Minister said, not just travel cost, expense costs, but also support for that person, for that woman who may come to Wales and use that opportunity. And obviously this is something where the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Wellbeing is looking at this very carefully, and we'll be able to update in further detail in due course. But I would also like to join the member in congratulating Labour Stella Creasy MP. And I think what was very important about the approach she took was to engage cross-party, a number of MPs cross-party in Westminster. And it was a Labour-led call, but it was coordinated. And of course you could see across the chamber, in the House, you could see that support coming from all benches. And indeed, of course, that did result in the response from the UK Government. Now, yesterday, Justine Greening, who's the Minister for Women and Equalities, issued a letter to all MPs in relation to abortions performed in England for women from Northern Ireland. And she said in that letter payments will be funded through the Government Equalities Office, allowing the Department of Health to commission abortion services in England for those from Northern Ireland. So it is quite clear that we now need to ensure that this can also will apply to Wales.